The event will begin shortly. A private spiritual community dedicated to integration, healing, and personal transformation. Everything shared here today is for educational and spiritual purposes only. Whether you're exploring microdosing, preparing for a journey, or seeking integration support, you are in the right place. The event will begin shortly. Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer with Silly Girl and affiliated with Temple of Heart Awakening Love. We have people joining us here tonight from Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, and from Meetup StreamYard. So welcome, everybody. You can't necessarily all hear each other, but you can put your comments in the chat. You're more than welcome to ask questions as we go. This is an interactive session. It isn't me just talking to you. So welcome, everybody. We have a big, huge crowd tonight, so it must have been a topic that resonated. What we're going to talk about tonight is how unhealed trauma quietly affects your relationships / people pleasing and boundary setting. We're going to dig into why this is important and how it affects your relationships, and not just romantic ones, but all of them. People pleasing is not a personality flaw. It's a survival strategy, and it's really time for you to upgrade. Here's a little bit of disclaimer language for everybody, just so you know. We are with Temple of Heart Awakening Love. It's a private member association, a 508c1a religious organization, and we work within that spiritual framework as Silly Girl as a coaching company. So everybody who's here today, and they're all over the place, so you can just like whip a 1 in the chat because I can't see everybody's hands, but whip a 1 in the chat if you've done any of these today, just today. Apologize for something that wasn't your fault or didn't need to be apologized for. Say yes to something when you desperately want to say no. How many people have done that? Yeah. Over-explained a decision to avoid someone being upset. Because no is a complete answer, right? And you've said, oh, I can't because I have to go match my socks and pet my cat and wash the walls, right? Felt responsible for someone else's mood. Who's done that? I know I've for sure done that. Positively, absolutely done that. Many, many times in my life, and I've gotten better at this. So what this is about is it's about people pleasing. It's about not wanting to disappoint other people in your life. It's about not understanding that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain. You don't have to justify. You don't have to make excuses. You get to sit in your sacred no. And until you understand and know that, it's very difficult for a lot of people because we want to be accepted. It's part of, being human. So people pleasing isn't kindness. It's a nervous system response. And so the conditioning trap is you want to be a good girl or a good guy. And it starts really early in life, right? You probably taught this from your parents. You're probably taught this from people in your life. So we try to keep other people happy. And so what really happens here is you can't keep other people happy. Happiness is a choice, and everybody's feelings belong to them, not to you, and they're not your responsibility. And so when you try to make other people happy, a lot of times, and I know we've all had this person in our life, they overgive, they overpromise, they're always available, they're kind of needy, they're kind of up in your business, right? So how many people have seen that? Jacob, yeah, for sure. You got that friend that's like all up in your beeswax. It's cool because they're super available, but also kind of annoying because they always want to do stuff with you. And when you say no, they get really disappointed, right? A little butthurt. Over time, it becomes an automatic response. It's a reflex. It's not a conscious choice. And so 40%, which means almost half, it's a little less than half of adults, they identify as chronic people pleasers, which means they do things they don't want to do or feel obligated to do or things like that. And it's not fun, right, guys? It's not fun. I know that we've all been in the trap. It's strongly correlated with anxiety, resentment, and burnout. So when you do this again and again and again, and you're not honoring yourself, it strongly correlates with feeling resentful, feeling overburdened, feeling burned out. How many of you guys have experienced that? Yeah. A lot of you, right? A lot of you guys are like, can definitely relate to this, right, Janet? Yep, for sure, for sure. There's 2 Janets in here tonight, by the way, guys. We're going to play a little game called People Pleaser Bingo. So if you recognize yourself in this, you can just whip a number in the chat, or you can just, sit back and raise your hand quietly to yourself. Any of those things are okay. I'll just do it myself. It's easier. I feel guilty when I say no. I don't want to make it a big deal. I apologize even when I'm not wrong. I can tell when someone is upset, and it's my job to fix it. It's my job to manage how they're feeling. If you got 3 or more of these, welcome. You're in the right room. We're here to talk about this tonight. So how many of you guys have done this, right? We're just going to keep beating this horse. Yeah, Janet, you're back. We've done this, right, guys? And then when you do it, you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this right now, right? And it kind of inside, like, I guess once you become aware of it, it kind of cracks you up a little bit, but until you become aware, it's very disheartening because you get obligated into doing stuff you just don't want to do, right? So when you're younger, your brain generally learns that no is dangerous. So you get the fawn response, and it's your nervous system. It says it can fight, it can flight, it can freeze, and it can fawn. And fawning is people pleasing as a trauma response. It developed in childhood when conflict or disapproval felt threatening to you, right? So when there was a threat, real or imagined, you took up these people-pleasing tendencies and adapt to this. I'm sorry, I'm trying to let people in and talk at the same time. I got distracted. But you're trying to adapt to this situation where you're like, oh, if I say no, then here's what's going to happen. Somebody might have been disapproval. They might have cried. They might have made you feel guilty. Not that people can make you feel guilty, but they, laid guilt onto you. We put up invisible walls. So this fawn response creates these walls in our adult relationships, and we can't be present when we're constantly monitoring other people's feelings and emotions. And it leads to like this burnout and this exhaustion. And you maybe not have a good social battery. You might not be able to go out. You might be like, shoot, man. And so some people become complete hermits and they don't do anything because they're so afraid of the no that they just don't do stuff, or they avoid, or they don't answer the phone, or they don't respond to text, right? And I'm sure we've all done that too, where you like see the thing ring and you're like, oh, I don't want to tell them no, so I just pretend like I didn't see it, right? So this is a cycle that keeps you stuck. There's a trigger. Someone seems upset. Your nervous system fires off and it goes into protection mode. Then there's a response. You over-explain, you apologize, you give in, right? If somebody's like, no, I really want you to go. Come on. I mean, it's no fun without you, right? And you don't want to in your heart of hearts, and somehow you give in and you're like, well, I suppose I'm going to have to do that. And I don't really want to, but I'm gonna. And all right. And then you try to duck out of that responsibility and find any excuse under the sun later to maybe not do the thing, right? And then the result is you get resentful. Your boundaries erode. The pattern repeats, rinse, wash, repeat, right? And you just cycle and you cycle and you cycle. The problem is this is all in good intentions, right? But good intentions don't break the cycle. The nervous system needs a different signal, and it needs to come from you. What does no feel like in your body? So everybody here, real quick, just feel into it. When you think about somebody asking you to do something, what does no feel like to you? Does it give you this like gut-wrenching tightness? Does it feel tight in your throat or your chest? Like, oh, gosh, that's really uncomfortable. Yeah. Think about the last time you wanted to say no and you didn't. Then how did you feel? Where did you feel that in your body? Did you feel it in tightness in your shoulders, tightness in your jaw? Maybe your shoulders went up towards your ears. These things happen, right? And then you have to like relax yourself because you're just kind of ticked off that you're obligated into some stuff, right? So if anybody, oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it can give you a headache, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Some people like they keep that tension in their jaw and they end up grinding their teeth at night because they get so resentful from saying yes to stuff they just really don't want to do. And so that physical sensation is your boundary, and we're going to learn to listen to it. We're going to learn to sit with it in our body. So healing the root, not the symptom. So lots of people treat anxiety, right? They treat things like that with some medication, or they sometimes they numb out with alcohol. Sometimes they utilize marijuana. Sometimes they do all these other things, right? So they don't have to feel all this energy stuck in their body. They do maybe some talk therapy. They may journal about it, right? But sometimes you hit a ceiling because your nervous system is stuck. It's stuck in this like, mode. The bridge is sometimes you can do somatic practices. Sometimes you can do some breath work. You can do some nervous system regulation, which helps. Get some exercise. Maybe, some people do scream therapy, go to a rage room. It helps, but it also needs a deeper reset to hold on to, because the root cause of this isn't the symptom, which is clenched jaw, tightness in the shoulders, that sick feeling in your stomach. The reset is an intentional integration. Sometimes you can do psychedelic-informed decisioning with microdosing or a macrodose if it's gotten to be pretty bad, where you're just a total people pleaser and you just want their approval and you want them to like you and you want them to pick you and you want all these things from people and they don't give it to you, and then you're feeling all kinds of crappy. So when you do these things like microdosing or macrodosing, it quiets that response and it creates neuroplasticity so you can form new patterns in your brain. It also gives you the opportunity to actually have some self-awareness and insight, so you can be aware that what you're doing and then maybe work on changing those habits and behaviors, or the story you tell yourself about why you need to do these things for people. You can't really think your way out of this. You have to feel your way through it. And when you're in touch with your emotions, it really gives you the opportunity to feel what's going on in your body, and then talk to that, basically talk to that tightness in your chest, talk to that sinking feeling in your gut, talk to that clenching of the jaw, and see what it's really looking for. And it's generally safety, right? You don't feel safe. You don't feel accepted into the group. You feel like you might be ostracized. You feel like you might be displeasing. You feel like, you might be letting somebody down. That happens a lot, right? Yeah, it definitely happens a lot. Yeah, tightness in the gut for sure. Tightness in the stomach is a lot. A lot of you guys are saying that. People saying you can relate, right? It's just kind of this oogie sick feeling where you're like, oh, but then this overriding nervous system says, just go do it and get it over with, right? How many guys have done this? I've been there, done that. Just do it and get it over with. So integration is what makes the shift permanent. So before you intention set, you identify the relational pattern to address. During you microdose protocol, macrodose journey within the temple container, you have that space to become self-aware, to reframe those thoughts and patterns of what you're telling yourself. And after, there's some integrating coaching, there's somatic practices, there's boundary building work, there's lots of talk, lots of chat available, so that you can work through what's keeping you stuck in this place where you just feel like you have to do so much all the time, right, guys? Who's done that? I've done it. I know we've all done it. You feel like you got to do the most. You got to answer the phone. You got to go to the party. You got to show up. You got to make food. You got to do this. You got to do that. So the medicine here can show you the door, and integration teaches you how to walk through it every single day of your life. And when you get stuck, it gives you the tools to be self-aware enough to figure out what that stuckness is, and then feel back into what's going on in your body, and then bring awareness to that, and then maybe move that energy through you. Journal about it, go for a walk, sit with your feet grounded in some grass or some sand on the beach or something like that, so you can move those emotions without telling yourself a story about why you're feeling some kind of way. Yeah? Right. Yeah, definitely going out in nature, laying underneath trees, for sure. Absolutely. Petting your dog, for sure. That's a good call. Like spending some time doing that, playing with your kids, a tree swing. Absolutely, right? So any of these things where you just go out and sit in the quiet and give yourself an opportunity to sit with how you're feeling and then regulate that emotion. So let's practice right now. So you guys can do this. I know most of you are on mute, but what happens if you repeat after me out loud and mean it and just say no? Nothing else, just no. That doesn't work for me. I love you and I can't do it. When you put a but in there, that means that you're trying to make excuses, right? If you use the word and, it connects it. I love you and I can't do that, right? It's a great connector and it gets you through there. How does it feel to you guys when you think about that or when you say it? Oh, some of the same stuff, right? Tightness in the stomach, oogie feeling in the throat, maybe a clenching of the jaw. But with practice, this becomes your sacred speech that you get to have out loud with people without justification, without excuses. You get to say no. You get to say, that doesn't really work for me. I love you and I can't do that. Feels a little weird and a little scary, right? It's just your nervous system coming back down to baseline instead of being on a 12 and on a freak out. So you don't have to unlearn this alone. We do trauma-informed coaching for men and women. We do microdosing and macrodosing protocols. We do relational pattern work and boundary building. We do before, after, during journey. And if you don't do journeys, if you don't choose to do that, we also do calls. We do coaching. We have group. We do all kinds of fun stuff here that's going to help you work through this stuff so you stop being a people pleaser and you start setting boundaries. Now, the flip side to that is what really awesome happens on the other side of that relationship, because it's not just on you, but you earn other people's respect. They understand that your no means no. And at first, they may be a little not used to that because they're used to you being the yes man. But eventually, they learn to respect you more. They learn to appreciate your honesty. They see you in your authenticity. And they start to see you glow up, and it makes them want to be near you more because you become more attractive. And I don't mean just physically. I mean, you become more attractive as a person when you have healthy boundaries and you step outside of that people-pleasing container. Yeah, right? Right? At first, it's so uncomfortable, like so stinking uncomfortable. Absolutely. Right? So in your relationships, everybody is waiting for the real you to show up. And so things you can do is you can stay curious. You can keep learning. There's no judgment. The information is always going to be here. There's lots of people that come to these groups. I think there's like 47 of you guys tonight that could all come into group. You guys can all talk amongst yourselves, bounce ideas off each other. You can talk about your experiences with each other. And then we have our facilitators in our group as well that help give you tools so that you can adjust better. They help give you guidance into like, oh, here's a little like self-awareness exercise, so on and so forth. You can connect with us if it's something you want to work with us on. We have 30-minute calls. There's no pressure. We never pressure you to do anything. Just a conversation to see what's possible if that's something you want to do. And then you can join the temple at any time. It's free. It's a private member association. And then you just begin your journey. And if that includes, using microdosing, macrodosing, or just coaching, you're welcome to join and be a part of this big, huge, amazing community full of amazing people. And the people in your life don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to be present. And it starts with you being present with you, which is the amazing, great place to be. Your relationships deserve a healed version of you. So the boundaries aren't walls. It isn't shutting people out. It isn't shutting down. They're the door to love who you actually are and what you actually want. And it gives people around you the necessary boundaries that they need in order to interact with you in a very healthy and meaningful way. So what questions do you guys have here tonight? There's a boatload of you. Is there something anybody wants to ask right now?
I just wanted to introduce myself because I'm new, and I've been doing a lot of healing work, and this is like perfectly exactly what I'm going through right now, because I've become aware of trying to stay mindful of catching myself when I'm slipping, right? And it's a full-time job, and that in itself is like, okay, I got to balance it out with playtime, self-care, like all the things. You can't just focus on the healing part all the time. So it's just been a struggle for me to find that balance, because I feel like there's still that resistance there. So the fact that you work with the silo, I don't even know how to say it, but I've been curious for years. The psilocybins, right? Is that the right way? Yeah, for years. So this is like perfectly what I think I need to look further into, and I would love to get more information about, how that actually works, like physically.
Do you see my phone number on the screen right now? 517-862-6671. Shoot me a text, and I'll text you back and talk to you about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we can talk about it here too, but that is a surefire way. And then we can talk about your specific stuff. But if you shoot me a text, then I'll have your information, and I can give you all kinds of cool information about it. How it helps with healing, how it helps you move through some of this stuff. It's amazing stuff. Do you have specific questions that you want answered here that everybody else might benefit from?
Yeah, like for me, it's been the part of rediscovering, my identity basically, and rebuilding that, because after realizing and waking up, like, hold on, I've been sabotaging and abandoning myself for years and waiting for people to show up that are not going to show up. And now I have to do it for myself. And then it's like, you got to go back to childhood, right? Because that's where it all started. And so it's deep and it's a lot. So, and I just need, and I just want to share that it's possible. I've been through a lot of things and I'm not going to trauma dump here, but it's just kind of, I feel like there's solutions and there's tools. And as long as we have a bunch of tools in our arsenal and we stay mindful of picking up the tool that we need in that moment, then that's all it is. I don't have to do all the things, but if I can at least choose the right food and get some movement in, then I don't feel like I'm abandoning myself. And then that's been making my subconscious stronger, I think, because it's like that trust is being rebuilt. So that's where I'm at with everything. But I feel like I need, a little bit more of a physical part regulation with the mind, because I feel like I am awakening and there's a lot that I want to share with the world. Because even if it's just my story, I'm sure that it's valuable to someone who's going through it at that time.
Of course it is. Everybody's story is valuable.
Exactly. So
You
that's,
never know who's going to benefit from something you say at any given time. You never know.
So I just want to be able to use my voice, because that's been the thing that's been most affected, from the trauma and the way that the trauma responses and the survival mode that I've been in. So it's just beautiful to be able to find a space like this. And I really just want to thank you for having it and letting me speak and express myself. And, thank you to everyone in the chat for putting up with me talking over here. So I'll
No,
land my, but
that's all right.
my questions are just more about what I said. So I'll reach out to you and definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome. I would love to speak with you. We also have, and I'm going to call other Janet out because she works with me already. I'm going to call other Janet out and say hey to her because I'm so glad she showed up today. She came to be around us, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. It's been a while. Maybe even 8 months ago. It's been a hot minute, but she's here and she supports us all the time. She's part of our community. Awesome human all the way around. And it was funny when you came in and I was like, Janet changed your last name to, oh, what the heck's going on? But it's you. It's a new one. So I'm very, very excited. Hey, Janet, you're going to talk? I saw your mic go off.
I'm going to reiterate that I love you.
I love you too. You're the best. So I'm glad you're here today. So we have a community, guys, and we encourage all of you guys to be a part of that, because then we can all support each other. We can share our story. We can help each other with tools that we find. Everybody, like she said, every tool is not for everyone, but there is a tool for everyone, to be fair. And there's lots and lots of things out there and people to connect with, and building community, which is so important, especially if you struggle with this kind of stuff, because you can go, yeah, me too. What are you doing? Oh, this is what I'm doing. And then you guys can share, uplifting each other and being positive together, which is our mission, right? Is for all of us to rise up and be the best version of ourselves. What about the rest of you guys? Any other questions, thoughts, anything? We got Reed, Anna, Daphne, got some Tia. Is it Tati? I think that's how you say it. But
can I say something?
Of course. Yes, please.
So I recently went on a journey with Jen, and it was very powerful and very safe and very trusting, and it helped me a lot. And it was nothing that I ever would have considered a year ago. And with our work between 5 and 6 months, I decided to make that commitment to myself. And it was very helpful. And so when I say out loud, I love her, I do love her in a very specific way.
Oh, you're going to make me cry, Janet.
So I just want people to know that it's safe. It's good. It works.
You're so sweet, Janet. Thank you. And I saw Reed just sent me a little heart emoji too in the chat. Thanks, man. Do you have any questions you want to put in the chat? I don't mean to embarrass or call anybody out, but I just want to be sure everybody is held and that I answer your questions and I'm here for you. So if you're more comfortable whipping it in the chat, go for it. Or again, you have my phone number up there. You can text me directly. Very responsive, and I'll answer you and your questions as best as I can to the best of my ability. And if I don't know, I'll point you in a direction of some information so that you have it. I'm so very pleased that everybody's here this evening, and look at all this interaction all over the place. And again, you guys can't all see each other, but this one is oh, Leila's here. This one is a powerful topic that we may have to revisit again. Hey, Layla, I'm glad to see you here. Hi. She might not be connected to audio yet, but
Hi.
Hi, hon. So yeah, we were just talking about boundary setting and stuff like that. I'm so glad you're here. So welcome. I'm glad to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're just here building community and answering questions and supporting everybody so that we can become the best version of ourselves and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna play the outro real quick, but if you hang tight and you have questions after that, just stay here, and I'll be here for a little bit longer. So it's just gonna play a quick little video, and then I'll be available again. So just hang tight for like 1 minute. Thank you for showing up today. Your willingness to explore, to question, and to awaken matters. If what you heard resonated with you and you are ready to take this deeper, we are here for that conversation. Silly Girl provides trauma-informed coaching and integration support in affiliation with Temple of Heart Awakening Love. Schedule a 1.1 call with me using the link in our bio. Let's talk about your journey.